This is a solemn but glorious hour. I wish that Franklin D. Roosevelt had lived to see this day. General Eisenhower informs me that the forces of Germany have surrendered to the United Nations. The flags of freedom fly all over Europe.
I am not frightened by what lies ahead, and I don't believe the American people are frightened by what lies ahead. Together, we're going to do what has to be done. We're going to put America back to work again.
1945 and 1980, 2 years that our next guest describes as inflection points in American history. Now, he says we're at a crossroads once again as we confront our post-pandemic future. He is a marketing professor at NYU Stern School of Business, Scott Galloway, and the author of the new book entitled Adrift, America in 100 Charts. It's great to have you on the show. Congratulations on the book. If you could please start by talking about what is the crossroads that America is facing today.
Well, good to be with you, Mika. I would argue that if you looked at us, any sort of sober analysis shows that it's been remarkable, our achievements today. You showed, President Truman coming out of the war. We will produce more output in our nation in 1 month, Eisenhower, than we do an entire year back then. We have the best vaccines. No one is lining up for a Chinese or Russian vaccine. We create tremendous prosperity. Every talented, hardworking person in the world wants to come here. But if America were a horror movie right now, you'd have to argue that the call is coming from inside of the House. A third of each party thinks the other party is their mortal enemy. 54% of Democrats are worried that their child is going to marry a Republican. We don't talk to our neighbors. We're not joining softball. We're not touching, smelling, and feeling each other as much. And we're not getting married. We're not entering into relationships. So I would argue that a lack of appreciation for what it means to be American and also a general resentment amongst each other.
So, Scott, in your new book, you discuss the hold that you say big tech has over the American economy and why you're still hopeful for the country's future. You write in part this, though. The nation once idolized astronauts and civil rights leaders and inspired hope and empathy. Now it worships tech innovators who generate billions of dollars and move financial markets. The elites are digging in, protecting their growing fortunes from the risks, the very markets they claim to support. Although it's out of fashion, I remain an American exceptionalist. This country really is different in ways that make it a city on a hill, a beacon for the optimistic and the innovative. I often say that optimism is America's superpower, and this optimism really is powerful. Science tells us that it can extend an individual's life by 8 years. Imagine what 330 million optimists can accomplish. I don't disagree, but I want to back up and ask you what the biggest risk is from modern technology.
Well, as a society becomes wealthier and more educated, its reliance on the super being and church attendance goes down. But our questions, Mika, remain as complicated as they've ever been. And so into that void slips technology. I don't understand how my iPhone works, but I know it's amazing. And I would argue that the new Jesus Christ of our era are Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. And it's important to have heroes. But it's fairly apparent that technology companies and our tech innovators get to play by a different set of rules. They engage in antitrust and monopoly abusive behavior. They commit securities fraud on Twitter. They are the first to criticize our government, not appreciating that whether it's Google, Apple, or Tesla, it was EV credits, incredible forward-leaning investments from our great middle class into GPS or DARPA, the internet, or dividends from the space program, that essentially they've created a thin layer of innovation on top of great American middle-class investors in the form of the most successful VC in history, the U.S. government. Our most loyal Americans our veterans, because they've invested the most in America. Unfortunately, I find that our least patriotic individuals are our most blessed, and that is tech innovators who are the first to criticize the country that has given them so much. So I would argue we need more regulation around technology companies, and generally speaking, we need to push back on tech leaders who say government should just get out of the way. They didn't ask us to get out of the way when we gave them $450 million loans to start their companies, Infrastructure Acts to build charging stations or EV tax credits. America is by far the only place you could get traction that these companies have enjoyed. And I believe that it's time for them to start recognizing that incredible blessing of what it means to start a company and be a citizen here in the United States.
Scott, the 1980s that we've spoken to briefly this morning seems like an earlier, easier time, despite the fact that it's a snap of our fingers in terms of history. And what do we do? What threat does the gulf, the huge income gulf, pose to the future of this country? I mean, there's just such a widening spread between the people you just referenced, the Silicon Valley billionaires and other billionaires and millionaires, and the average person. And you spoke about the fact that you're an optimist. I, too, am an optimist. But do you ever have the feeling that given this economic gulf, this income gulf, that cynicism is somehow ahead in the game versus optimism?
So income inequality gets a lot of warranted attention. What we don't talk enough about is age inequality. And that is, if you're over the age of 75, you're 72% wealthier than 75-year-olds were 40 years ago. But if you're under the age of 40, you're on average 22% less wealthy. For the first time in American history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at the age of 30. And the incumbents, the existing wealthy, like to say that these are problems that are intractable, that are insolvable. No, they're not. These are conscious decisions. People under the age of 40 have seen their wealth as a percentage of GDP be cut from 19% to 9%. And it's a conscious decision we made. The two biggest tax deductions are mortgage interest and capital gains. Who owns homes and stocks? People my age. Who rents and makes all of their current income from salary? Young people. So we have made a concerted decision to transfer wealth from young people to older people. The pandemic and the bailouts were not allowing the gale force winds of disruption to blow, which in fact transfers wealth from older to younger people. When you save the baby boomers restaurant, you're taking away the opportunity for a younger person to come in and buy that business on the cheap. You mentioned the 80s. When I applied to UCLA, the acceptance rate was 76%. This year, it'll be 6%. We have entered into a dangerous mentality in America of rejectionism and exclusivity, where we decide once I have a college degree, I don't want anyone else to get into my alma mater, so the value goes up. Once I have a house, I want to show up to the local planning board and ensure no developments get approved. And once I have a tech company, I'm going to stick my elbows about. America isn't about identifying the top 1% and turning them into billionaires. America is about giving remarkable opportunities to the 99% below that. We need to fall back in love with the unremarkables.
I love it. The new book is entitled Adrift, America in 100 Charts, making a great point. Professor of Marketing at NYU's Stern School of Business, Scott Galloway, thank you very much, and congratulations on the book.